Good morning, everybody. This is I'm Dr. Richard Dobbs. I'm going to go over a quick course orientation for the class. This is the announcement page, of course. So obviously, if you're listening in this orientation, you've gotten to the announcements, you've gotten to start here, and you've gotten to the orientation. But this, remember, every time you come to the course, it'll come to the announcements, and so you want to always regularly check announcements. I'll routinely send announcements out and reminders about the course and that kind of thing. And so I'm going to go ahead and go to the start here, which again, if you're listening to this, you got to this point, and because you're watching the orientation. I'm going to take a few minutes to go through the syllabus and the requirements and that type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the syllabus up as a Word document. Of course, this is 201 Section 70. For a lot of you, of course, if you're not local, the office hours don't really matter, but I'm around a lot. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I will be over at our Ayers campus in the middle of the day. But other than that, I'm here a lot. I'm here a good bit on Fridays and even in the evenings a lot. So if you ever needed, if you hear you needed to come by or something, you can call and set up a time or stop by. My office number's there. You can call anytime. I try to return messages immediately. My email is there. Of course, I put down here the best way to communicate with me here in this class is via Blackboard message. It's right here under communication tools. Okay, so that's the best way. I will check that way. I'll know exactly what class you're in. Okay, if you send an email and say, hey, I have a question about this, I'll ask you immediately. I'll say, well, what class are you in? And again, for the internet class, the best way to communicate with me is by Blackboard. Okay, by the message system right there. So again, going back to the syllabus. And you can read through a lot of this. Of course, I'm the division chair, so my contact information there, and there's Dr. Worthington, our dean. You just read through. This is basically the first part of U.S. history, of course, delivered via internet. The book that should be in the bookstore is a volume 1 of American Understanding, Understanding the American Promise. You can see there the picture of that. Now, if you have another version of the book, that's fine. If you have a comprehensive version or even the older edition, I think this is the second edition, those will work. There'll be one little catch as far as an access code, but any Understanding American Promise will work fine. Okay, but then we'll talk about the access code here in a few minutes for the quizzes. Another thing you're going to have, of course, you can read these requirements, computer requirements. I don't understand. I'm not a tech guy, but you will have to use Respondus Lockdown Browser and Respondus Monitor, so that means you will have to have a webcam. And we'll talk about that as we get close to the exams. For the exams, we'll use Lockdown Browser and Monitor. Okay, and if you haven't done that before, there's some here under Check Exams here. There's different little videos I do about Lockdown Browser and then Monitor and webcam instructions, and then a webcam practice. And so I'll highlight that here in a couple weeks before we get to the first exam. I want everyone to do a Monitor webcam practice. That way, the first time you do it this semester, even if you've done it before, okay, every year and every semester you need to kind of download the updated versions and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be important that you'll practice that before the first exam. Okay. Let me go back to the syllabus. Now, also in a second, we'll talk about the participation quizzes. What I'm doing this time is something called Learning Curve. In fact, we'll go ahead and go to that. So, of course, well, I'll get to that in a second. Let me go over the exams and that kind of stuff first, then we'll look at that. Okay. So, what you'll under required stuff. Okay, I was trying to think of how to simplify and kind of clarify. This is where you go to do things that you're required to do. Of course, right now I just have Exam 1 stuff up. My course is basically the same as I would do the course in a lecture course. I mean, if you stepped out of the internet class in the middle of the term and came into my lecture class, I'm covering the same material, the same list of terms, the same PowerPoints. Now, I may alter the terms in PowerPoints some during the term, and if I do, I'll post new terms or I'll post any alterations or let you know. Usually it would just mean deleting some, but I might add some things to the PowerPoint, and again, I would change that. The lectures that are posted are older lectures. These connect you to, these are lectures I have posted on my YouTube channel. Now when they go pretty much along with the text. They don't go exactly along with the text, but pretty much. And again, this is, so for the first exam, this is the equivalent of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 6 classes of lectures. But you, here's the terms that, and I would recommend, again, when you come to class, which is essentially, sitting down to do the class, because remember, if you were in my lecture class, we'd meet 2 days a week, about an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes each time, so that's close to 3 hours at least a week. But you have the list of terms that you go by, and this would be, as I go through, this is what you're responsible for. Okay, for exam 1, you're responsible for these list of terms. I might add a few things here and there occasionally. I might delete a few things, but you're responsible for these terms. And as I put in my syllabus, you're responsible for the list of terms, and again, the PowerPoints are under there too, and the terms. You're responsible for the terms. Many of the terms I'll deal with in the lectures, so I'll kind of tell you what you need to know for the most part in the lecture. But there will be some terms I don't cover in lecture, so you're responsible for those from the text, from the practice quizzes that I'll show you in a second, from learning curve. You're responsible for the terms regardless. Now, I don't hold you responsible for dates. I'm interested in, who is a person, for instance, if we're talking about a person, who are they, what they do, and why the hell are we talking about them 200 years later or 300 years later? I mean, what's important about them? Okay, so I've never asked a date on an exam. That's not that important. Okay, context is important, but not, okay, such and so happened on such and such date. I don't care. What happened? Why is it important? How did it affect us today? Maybe that kind of thing. Okay. So the tentative exam schedule. The way I do it, since I have it set up with Monitor, and of course it's all online because this is an online class. I actually, from my lecture classes, I test online as well. So it's the exact same schedule generally, or close to it, and also same exams. Okay. So when you go to taking exams, of course I don't have an exam posted right now, but when it's time for an exam, I'll tell you, hey, this exam is opening up on those days, and it's usually, I'm going to set up usually a Thursday through Sunday. So if any of you need to come on campus and take on any of our campuses, you can go to the libraries and ask for a webcam or ask for a place to take an exam. We've got computer labs on campus, but if you need to come on campus, you got a Thursday and a Friday to do that, and then also you have the weekend to take it if you're taking it home up to Sunday night. Sometimes I'll open it a little earlier, give you a little more time. It just depends, but tentatively those are the dates that will open it. Okay, so sometime during that 4-day period or so, you need to find an hour to sit down and take the exam. Okay, and we'll talk about it when I get closer to the exams. It's very important, if you haven't used Lockdown Browser Monitor, to do an environment check that you'll see on there. If I suspect that you aren't taking your own exam, or you're using notes, or you're cheating, or somebody's helping you, I can require you to come in to a campus and take a proctored exam, and it won't be the same exam. It'll be harder, and you probably won't do very well. Okay, and so I've done that. I'll do it again. It's not a problem. Okay, so just take the exam. Better to try and not do as well. Again, I give, with participation and some extra point opportunities, you can always come back from a weaker grade, but if you cheat, you can be kicked out of school, and so you don't want to do that. All right. So again, the exams, the 4 exams, 400 points total, kind of the majority of the class. The next thing will be participation, and we're going to use learning curve quizzes this time. For those of you who may have had, if you had 202 with me. Now where we go here is under participation. So again, there's required stuff. So here's, let me go ahead and mention the essay here too while no, I'll come back to that. I'm sorry. I'm not very good sitting here looking at a screen. I kind of have ADD, and if I'm not talking to somebody, I get distracted very easily. I apologize. So under participation, okay, and I have it in capital letters there. It is required. Okay, you'll go we're using something called Learning Curve, which is offered by Macmillan. And so if you get a text from the bookstore, okay, with the text or in the text somewhere, there will be included an access code, and this is where you put the access code. If you have an older edition or somebody loaned you a book, and actually if you happen to have a used book that you got somewhere, especially if you got it from somebody who bought it here, it might have a code in it that wasn't used, and you could try that access code. It might work. Okay, if it's the same book or a book that we used the last year or so, these codes have been in those books, and a lot of us, this is the first time I'm using the code. I think we only had one instructor that used it. So if you have a used book, you could try that code. Okay. Now, if you happen to get an older edition and you order it somewhere or something like that, and it doesn't have an access code in it, then you can say down here you can just purchase it online. Okay. And to purchase it online, again, you give your email. To purchase one, it's $9. So if you look at the cost of a book and say, well, I don't want to go to the bookstore and buy the book, and maybe you find a $20 book or something like that online, well, that balances out. It's still a lot cheaper than buying the book, so you can do that. It's $9 to buy the access code. You also, if you just don't have the $9 right now, okay, you can click on here to pay later, and you can get I think it's a 21-day access. So there's no reason why you can't get started right now. Okay, so even if you don't have the $9 or you have and maybe it's an issue with access code, you can still get started. Okay, excuse me. Now also, if you have issues with it, I put up here, this is the contact information, the help people, the phone number you can call. I'm not really going to be able to help you very much with Learning Curve, but this is where you go. And what you'll see when you get in there, what I'm going to do is it's an interactive quiz, and it's very self-explanatory. When you get in there, again, for the first 5 chapters for exam 1, for instance, you can earn 10 points for completing each chapter. Now, for some of you, if you get all the answers right, and again, basically it goes directly with the book. So use the book. Sit down. This is not closed book. This is open book. Read through the book. It'll show you, and I'm just thinking about, I'll probably try to record a little session with this the next day or two and kind of walk through it. But you'll use this, and you can earn up to, or you can earn 10 points for just completing the chapter. Some of it may take just 10 or 15 minutes to complete the chapter. Some of it may take longer if you miss questions, because you have to again, it changes with how well you're doing with the quizzes. Okay, so it's completion. It's not X number of points per question. It's did you complete the chapter? Okay, and so you can earn up to 10 points per chapter. So that's technically 150 points. I'm going to count up to 130. So you can earn 130 points for participation on Learning Curve, which basically means I dropped two chapters. If life happens and you aren't able to complete a couple of chapters, then you won't be harmed. You can still get the full credit. And if you do all 15, I may use that for some extra points or something. Okay, so hopefully the next day or so, it might be the weekend, but I'll go on and record a video of me actually going through as a student and doing the quiz, so you kind of see what it looks like. Okay, so again, participation to the exams, then participation 130 points, and then essays. Okay, back up under required stuff. Okay, for the first 3 exams, you're going to have an essay question, and I'll go ahead and click on it. So you just click on it, click begin. Okay, and there's the question: what role did sugar play in the development of African slavery in the New World? Okay, now as I put in there, you can only hit save and submit one time, but you can copy and paste this and leave. Let's say if I just want to look at it, copy and paste it, or if it's a short question, you can kind of remember what it says, and then I'll just leave it and say, okay, yeah, I want to leave that page. Okay, well, I didn't submit yet. Okay, so I'm fine. I can copy and paste it, go back and work on it. Again, they're worth 10 points, so you don't want to, not do it. Okay, but the answer should be, most of these are a couple paragraphs. I put 2 to 4 paragraphs. Most of them are going to be basically a couple good paragraphs, but make sure you answer the question. If it says, what role did it play? Don't put, well, a big one, you know, or something like that, okay? Actually answer the question. And these are the questions that will be in these essay questions. These are questions that actually I don't really cover that much in class or my lecture. So you need to go to the book and answer the question. Okay, and so you just answer the question right here, and when you hit save and submit, it'll show up. I'll grade it, and you'll see it in your My Grades. Okay, so everything, the exams are based on the terms and lectures, and here's the PowerPoint terms that you go with. So you really need to treat this, sit down, you know, say, hey, I'm going to class for the next hour and listen. I know it's, you know, probably painful to listen to me on a little video thing like this, but you know, that's the way I have it set up. And also understand these lectures are a few semesters ago, so you know, if you, it's a different class, it's not your class. So if you hear us joking or laughing about something that maybe you don't get, it could be an inside joke or something. Okay, and also if you hear me, and I don't remember, I haven't gone back and listened to these in a while. If I get pissed off at somebody and I'm cussing them out or something, you know, I'm not mad at you. Okay, so you just listen to it for the information. Also in a lecture, some of these lectures there may be some breaks where I show videos, and most of the times when the videos I've shown for 201, it's the president's videos, and I'll actually probably post a tab over here. I thought I had it in there, but I don't. But it's just the History Channel president's videos. It's the older version of them that you can just find on YouTube. I'll probably just connect it or just remind you, hey, you can go on YouTube and pull that up, History Channel presidents. And so when of course, once we get to presidents like Washington and on, for several of them, I'll show those little videos. Okay, not all of them, but for a lot of them, I'll use videos like that. So I'll go back through, and if I use videos, if I realize there's videos and things like that I use in class for my lecture class, I'll try to remember to post them here, just so I don't really test you on the information in the video, but it just helps your understanding and you know, getting more of the material and that kind of thing. Okay, so required stuff, all the exams are based here, the essay here, the participation. Then there's this one, the study and practice quizzes. Okay, I strongly recommend using this. As you can tell, it says study and practice, and I just realized something too. I have to, but under here there's identification quizzes that you can take and practice as much as you like. The review quizzes you can use. There's an outline. Actually, I just realized that for some reason it didn't copy over. I'll have to load these up manually. I'll have to go back to an old course and get them and load them back manually. Over the summer, I've noticed this start happening. But a lot of people use the outlines, defining terms, note-taking outline. You can use that. And especially the self-test and the section ID quizzes. Those are very helpful in preparing for the exams. Okay, a lot of the, you know, I've used in some of the exams. I use some of these questions, in building the exams. So it's great practice. Again, these things you can use and take as much as you want. They don't count for anything. Okay, they don't count. Now let me see. There's one other thing I just remembered under start here. Attendance verification quiz. Okay, everybody needs to do this ASAP as soon as you can, especially if you're on financial aid. For attendance here, just logging in doesn't mean you're attending the class. For an online class, you have to do something. You have to actually attempt a quiz. So I've just put a little, I think it's a 5-question little quiz. You just need to log in, hit continue, and just attempt it. It doesn't matter if you get it right or wrong, honestly. If I see you attempted it, if I just see that you logged in and attempted this, I can count you. I can count that you're attending. I mean, you can try to answer it if you want. I mean, that's fine, and get it right. It doesn't matter. It's not going to count for anything except attendance. Okay, so it's very important that you log in. So then I'll go on and I can't, even if you if I can see if you've logged into the class, but this is the quiz that I want you to do. You know, even if you start trying some other things, I'm going to look at this attendance quiz to see if you're attending. So make sure you just attempt this right off the bat. Okay. Let's see what else here. All right, and also in the syllabus you'll notice, so again, the way it works, you get 400 points for up to 400 points for exams, participation 130 points, essays 30 points, and you can also earn up to 15 points for a book review, an optional book review. And I'll talk about this more, especially as we get after the first exam. It seems like people are more interested in a book review. But there's a tab for the bonus book review information. You can go there. It just needs to be a book within our time period, from dirt to 1865 or so, a college level book, all those kind of things, one author, you can read about it in there. But everyone should at least get a book approved, because if you get a book approved, you have the option of doing a book review. After October 11th, if you haven't gotten a book approved, you can't do one. Okay. Now I will tell you, there'll probably be at least one other extra point opportunity in the fall. I give there's a thing called Walk Through Time at the Forest Cemetery. If you happen to be local, it's an opportunity to go and participate in some things, and I'll give you some extra points. There may be a couple other things too, but that's the one written in stone extra point opportunity. And as I tell my other classes, I strongly recommend you get a book approved and do the book review. Okay, and it's amazing, because at the end of the term, okay, let's say the way it works, so you got all these points that what you can earn up to. Make sure I did these points right. Let's see, 400, 530, yeah, 560. Okay, 560 points total possible. Now you can actually earn more than that if you got hundreds and you did extra points. But let's say, well, at the end of the day, I'm going to take your total points earned and divide by total points possible. And so your grade will be the percentage. 90 to 100 is A, 80 to 89 B, that kind of stuff. Well, let's say you come out with a 89.3. Okay, I failed algebra and was a terrible math person, but I remember how to round. Okay, so if I round 89.3, that's an 89. That's a B, or a 79.3 or 4, or a 69 point, or a 59.3 or 4. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to look at will be, did this person do something for extra points, like the book review? Okay, now those points would already have been in there. They're already averaged in. But what I'm going to look at is, I'm going to assume whatever grade you earn is you worked hard for it, you did the best you could. Okay, and then if you did this optional book review, that tells me you did everything you could do and even a little more. Basically, you get that out of there. Sorry, didn't mean to send that message to you, but so at the end of the day, or at the end of the term, I have a little bit of executive privilege, so to speak. And so if I say, hey, they've done everything they could do, they've done the book review, they've done all the participation, they've done everything they're supposed to do, kind of attending and participating in the class, then I'm gonna, I feel justified in bumping them up that extra 1/10 of a point to go to that 90 or 80 or 70 or 60. Okay. Now, on the other hand, if you got a 59.3 and I look up and say, okay, they didn't take advantage of extra points, maybe you didn't do all your participation, maybe, and again, all I have to go by, unless you communicate with me, is is just the what I see in the class. Okay, so what I would have to go by is, hey, this person just didn't take advantage of the opportunities, and so I don't give you a grade. I just let you get what you earned, which would be a 59.3, which is an F. Okay, so every semester I have people who are that close to the next grade, but they, I let you get what you earn. Okay, so again, very important. Take advantage of the extra point opportunities. It may help in the end. Okay, and of course, if you had a 59.3, if you had done the extra point book review, it wouldn't even be an issue. You wouldn't be borderline anymore. So there you go. So again, let me go back to make sure I've covered everything. Again, I apologize for being kind of a scatterbrain. It's just kind of how I am. So the book info test. Oh, one other thing too under start here, I forgot. Well, actually, I put it in the announcement about the class discussion. I think I put it here. Yeah. I've posted. This is a online class, so we don't get to talk to each other or anything. But I posted here a forum, and I said, again, you can read this. Hey, even though we're not together, I want you to introduce yourself. Okay. So what I ask you to do is do a little introduction about yourself, a little bit about yourself, maybe what you're majoring in, whatever. You don't have to write a novel, a book about yourself or anything, but what are your major interests, that kind of stuff, career, and then something interesting about yourself. So I did one to start with. I think this works right. Yeah. So I did an introduction of myself to kind of start it off. So again, I want you to do that. Just so part of it is just for me. I like to kind of, again, this is the one part I miss about, online classes are great for folks, and a lot of you guys I know have lives and work, and online class is a great thing. But you miss the interaction and getting to know people and that kind of stuff. So if you were interested, of course, keep it, you're as with all discussions and that kind of thing, of course, we, just like you would in class, be respectful and all those kind of things, and appropriate. So, all right, I think for now that's all. Just remember, always check announcements, and I will, because I communicate predominantly by announcement. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I always say, I don't, always ask any question you need to. I would say first, if you have a question, maybe check this orientation or go back and check the syllabus first. Chances are that maybe explains it, but if not, then feel free to ask. And if there's any kind of issues with the program or anything like that, then feel free to ask anytime. Okay. All right. Good luck. Hope we have a great semester, and we'll see you soon.